What's going on, Central Unit? It's the Central Man here. So this is my review of WCW Monday Nitro for the 8th of January 1996. This Nitro was in Charleston, South Carolina. It kicked off with the opening match. We've got Chris Benoit represent the Four Horsemen alongside his fellow horseman, the loose cannon Brian Pillman in his corner, taking on the Death Thunder Kid, Alex Wright. A decent opener. Both are technical style wrestlers. I think Wright did like a high flying move in this match. I think, not too sure, but mostly just technical style wrestlers. You know, like Benoit has some offense. Wright has the combat. Yeah, Pillman interfered just a little bit. It didn't really hurt this match. In the end, Benoit got the victory. Hit like a German bridge suplex to score the victory. And then a bit of a side note. Pillman kind of taunted at Alex Wright, you know, did the Four Horsemen sign, and spit in his face. Alex Wright, it's a shame, like, he never got that truly opportunity in WCW. Yeah, he was Cruiserweight champion in his run, but never, like, get out the Cruiserweight division, never become, like, an upper mid-card talent. I don't say he's world champion material, you know. I don't want to get into it, yeah. Let's move on to the next match. The next match, we got Lord Steven Regal taking on Eddie Guerrero. Another good match. Both good workers, you know, both Eddie and Regal. You know, Steven Regal will be the future William Regal in WWF/WWE. Yeah, it was, you know, Eddie does some high-flying maneuvers in this match. Mostly technical style wrestling in this match. You know, Regal is the master of it. You know, he's basically like his technical style wrestling Pokemon. He's basically like a Jedi of the technical style wrestling. You know, I think he had different styles of wrestling in his career. I don't want to get into it. It was back and forth between Regal and Eddie. In the end, Eddie rolled up Regal for the victory. And then we got the only segment on this episode of Nitro. You had Mean Gene interviewing Sting and Lex Luger. They were talking about the triangle match at Starrcade a couple weeks back. They talked about, you know, the match between Sting, Luger, and Flair. Basically, you know, Sting is interrogated, basically interrogating Luger. Luger is trying to change the subject. Basically, you know, Sting was about to get in the ring, you know, Luger holding down, you know, and Luger made some excuse about his knee. He talks about forming a tag team. He didn't like say he's gonna form a tag team. He mentioned about like prove me wrong, you know, and yeah, this is like I think later on the show they talk about Luger and Sting teaming up against the Bluebirds at Clash of the Champions 32, 33. That'll be a couple weeks in January. You know, so far I haven't really get to 996 yet. I'm still on 1991. You know, I don't know when I'm going to resume reviewing Clash of the Champion shows. Probably February, probably March. Anyway, so the next match we got Sting versus Diamond Dallas Page. It was an okay match. It wasn't fantastic. It was a little bit slower, but it was still okay for what it is. You know, like, DDP has mostly the offense. They had some of the offense. He did, like, a high-flying move. And then, you know, DDP, you know, mostly had the offense. Did, like, a little bit of rest holds. One more of the match, Sting trying to lock DDP with the Scorpion Deathlock. But DDP got his ropes, really hand on the ropes. In the end, you know, Sting managed to lock in the Scorpion Deathlock. Made DDP tap out. And that was it. It's just building up Sting for Clash of the Champions. I think it was Clash of the Champions 35. Yeah, it's got to be 33. You know, haven't got to 33 yet. Like I said, I'm still on 1991. Anyway, so moving on to the main event. The main event, we got the other members of the Four Horsemen, the WCW World Champion Ric Flair, and the enforcer of the Four Horsemen, Double A Arn Anderson, taking on Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. Yeah, the Mega Powers has reunited for the first time since 1989. You know the story, you know, they kind of exploded. I think it, you know, setting up the match between Hogan and Savage for the World Championship at WrestleMania 5 in 1989. Anyway, fast forward 7 years into the future, they're reunited. I know what WCW is doing at this time period between 95 and 96. They're trying to recreate the golden era, like 1980s WWF into mid 90s WCW. It kind of backfired because people don't want to see this. They're going back to the past. This is the time pro wrestling was going back to the past. Still doing the kid friendly stuff. The stuff what it did in the 80s. They want to focus. Yeah, they went edgy in later years. Anyway, the main event was fun. It was a good match. Back and forth for both tag teams. I feel like one more of the match, both Savage and Hogan locked Flair and Anderson with the figure 4 leg lock. In the end, Hogan, and by the way, Hogan was booed. This is in South Carolina. This is kind of like Horseman territory because it's in Carolina. It's not North Carolina, but it's still in Carolina. Anyway, they were booed. Yeah, the fans were booed. Yeah, they were booing Hogan. This is before John Cena. This is like a decade before John Cena will get that heat. You can tell. He turned heel in July. NWO, never story for another time. In the end, Hogan hit the leg drop on Anderson to score the victory, and then you got the Dungeon of Doom. I thought this is the first Nitro without the Dungeon of Doom. Unfortunately, they showed up in the last minute, basically beating down Hogan and Savage. I think you just got the Giant and Zodiac, that is, the formerly known as Brutus Barber Beefcake. I think it's one of his last appearances before, he'll become the Booty Man. After he basically betrayed the Dungeon of Doom, he was basically being Hulk Hogan's double agent. I don't want to get into it. So basically, the Giant just chucks them both, Hogan and Savage, to end this episode of Monday Nitro. Anyway, so my final rating for this episode of Nitro, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This was a good show. This was a decent, good show. You can tell that it's starting to get better. You can tell they slowly break away from 1995's year. That was a terrible drizzling shit for pro wrestling, but you can tell they're breaking away from it, and they're starting to really put on some decent shows. In the good, there's you had the opener and the main event, including Eddie versus Regal. Nothing in the bad, but in the okay has to be DDP versus Sting. It was an okay match. I'm not saying it was bad, but it didn't really impress me for what it is. They're both good workers. DDP and Sting. But it's just for me. It's more of a minority thing. So anyway, it's only short. This review is about 7 to 10 minutes. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my review of WCW Monday Nitro for the 8th of January 1996. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, and subscribe to the Essential Man Network on YouTube. We'll be back next Friday for another review of WCW Monday Nitro. The big boys play. This is Essential Man officially signing out. Check you later.